Hi Year 6 and welcome to Wednesday's English session. This week we are going to write our own story and I'm going to take you through it plot point at a time. Before you're watching this video, you need to have listened to Hole's chapter 4 and 5, which I've uploaded onto the website in the daily reads. I am also going to read you the beginning of chapter 6 and then that is where our story is going to begin. So just listen. I'm just going to read you one page of the book up to this quote that it has here, and then I'm going to tell you what our story is going to be. Stanley took a shower, if you could call it that, ate dinner, if you could call it that, and went to bed, if you could call his smelly, scratchy cot a bed. Because of the scarcity of water, each camper was only allowed a 4-minute shower, and it took Stanley nearly that long to get used to the cold water. There was no knob for hot water. He kept stepping in, jumping back, and then until the water shut off automatically. He never managed to use the bar of soap, which was just as well, because he wouldn't have had time to wipe off the suds. Dinner was some kind of stewed meat and vegetables. The meat was brown and the vegetables had once been green. Everything tasted the same. He ate it all and used a slice of white bread to mop up the juice. Stanley had never been one to leave food on his plate, no matter how it tasted. "What did you do?" one of the campers asked him. At first, Stanley didn't know what he meant. "They sent you here for a reason." "Oh," he realised. "I stole a pair of sneakers." The other boys thought that was funny, and Stanley wasn't sure why. Maybe because their crimes were a lot worse than stealing shoes. "From a store or from someone's feet?" asked Squid. Neither," Stanley answered. "They belonged to Clyde Livingston." Nobody believed him. "Sweet feet," said X-Ray. "Yeah, right." "No way," said Squid. So we found out there what Stanley has done to get sent to Camp Green Lake. He has stolen a pair of sneakers, a pair of trainers, okay? Stolen shoes from somebody called Clyde Livingston, who is, we imagine, somebody important, who has an important pair of trainers. So we are going to write now a flashback story to the time when Stanley stole the shoes. So we are going to imagine what has happened and write that story. So if we think about what a flashback means, it means looking back into the past. So we might have a flashback in a story to tell us something that's happened before the part of the story we're in now, to help us to understand the story that we're in now, and to just make the story and the understanding of our character that little bit deeper. So we are going to write exactly the same as we would if we were in school. So we're going to have 4 plot points. Okay, as usual, we are going to take our reader through the plot points. And we are going to write just one of those plot points each day. So today, I'm going to take you through plot point 1. This is the present day. So this is where Stanley is having this conversation with the other campmates. We haven't flashed back yet. Okay, so we are going to write minimum of 3 focus sentences. I'm going to give you 3 skills from the rainbow to focus on. We're going to do it together. And at the end of today, you will have 3 sentences minimum, but probably a little bit more than that. But you will have only written plot point 1. We are not going to push on. So we are writing the present day, Stanley having his conversation with the other campmates that I just read to you. We're going to continue that. So no flashbacks yet. That will be plot point 2. So hopefully you've got a piece of paper beside you and you're going to need to split it up just like we do at school. So we've got 3 skills. We are going to do fronted adverbials, we're going to do repetition, and we are going to do the check-in symbol, hearing, what you can hear, sounds you can hear. So split your page up just like that. You might want to pause the video and then come back. So the first skill is the fronted adverbial skill. Now there are different things that a fronted adverbial can do. It can tell us about where something's happening, how something's happening, when it's happening. But today we're going to focus on the where the event took place. So in your first thinking box at the top, where you've drawn the fronted adverbial symbol or you've written fronted adverbial, I want you to stop the video now and then collect any places where Stanley might be when he begins to think about his past. So if we're continuing the chapter from the part that I've just read to you, we got to him having a conversation about his crime. with the other people, and they've just had dinner. He'd had a shower, he'd had dinner, and now they're having a conversation. So where might he be now where we can talk about him thinking back and then lead into the flashback tomorrow? So some examples: he lay in his cot, so that's what they're calling the beds at camp. He slumped in his chair, he stood outside listening to the wind. Whatever you think, okay? So fill that first thinking box and then come back when you've finished. Okay, so once you've collected all your different words in the first box, it's time to start the sentence. So I have given a model. My model is here. And I've written, now, comma, as Stanley lay on his cot, comma, he thought it was kind of funny in a way. So now it's your turn to write your own fronted adverbial. So start your paragraph with a fronted adverbial about Stanley. Look in your thinking side and decide what you might write. Just start by writing a sentence about where Stanley is. Come back when you've finished. Okay, so you will have started that now. Usually we give ourselves 10 minutes in school. So I want you to add a little bit to what you've written now, but don't give yourself any longer than 10 minutes. So if it takes you 10 minutes to write one really, really good sentence, then that's absolutely fine. If you can easily write one sentence and you've got lots of time left, then challenge yourself to use some other skills from the rainbow. So give yourself that extra 5-10 minutes now. Pause, add to this part, and then come back. Okay, next symbol, showing repetition. So we've used repetition quite a lot already. We did it when we wrote about the lighthouse, and we did it again last term, looking at repetition, repeating parts of a sentence. So today we are going to use this model, okay? So I've given you the sentence and it's got some sentence parts missing. You're going to do that in your thinking section at the top. So we've got nobody had believed him when something, nobody had believed him when something, and now when something, nobody believed him either. So this is my model. So I'm going to put nobody had believed him when he said he was innocent. Nobody believed him when he said they appeared from nowhere. And now at camp, when he finally said that he'd stolen them, nobody believed him either. So your turn now then to have that next 10 minutes. You can pinch some from my model, okay? Take that repetition. Nobody believed him when, nobody believed him when, and now nobody believed him again. If you've got extra time in your 10 minutes, then challenge yourself and add in another skill from the rainbow beyond repetition. Come back after 10 minutes and see the next skill. Okay, last skill then is your sounds, okay? So you need to look back at your first sentence and where you decided he was. So mine was laying in his cot, but if yours was outside, it might be slightly different. So think of the sounds that he might hear in that place. Okay, so in your thinking section, you are going to put the sounds that Stanley might be hearing. Okay, so it could be the wind, if he's outside, snoring, if he's in his cot, whispering, his own heartbeat. So pause me now and take a moment to fill your thinking side with all the sounds that Stanley might hear. Okay, so here is my model again. So I'm following on from what I've written before, and I've written, though it was night, the air was still very warm, and in the distance, Stanley could hear Armpit snoring from 2 beds away. Okay, so this is your final part now. Give yourself the last 10 minutes and add in your sounds sentence or sentences. If you've done your sounds part and you still haven't written for 10 minutes, then add in some other skills from the rainbow. Remember, at the end of this, you will have a minimum of your 3 sentences from each section, but you might have more than that. Come back after you've finished. Okay, so now you have finished plot point 1. Well done, thank you for joining, and come back tomorrow so that we can actually begin the flashback part and plot point 2. Don't forget to send us your plot point 1s. We'll be really excited to read the beginning of your story, and I will see you tomorrow for the next part. Bye.